If you're not happy with where you are in your life currently, it is first important to understand the relationship you have with yourself and within yourself. The healthiest and happiest people in the world are people who have the most authentic relationship with themselves. The relationship we have with ourselves can impact our relationship with money, food, and the people around us, which impacts the overall well-being and the quality of our life. Now, I would like you to take a look and just take a moment to reflect which part of your life that you are currently not happy about or you seek to improve. In order for you to understand the relationship that you have with yourself, you first need to shed the ego and be fearless in accepting that everyone has flaws and shortcomings. Let go the idea of perfectionism. Perfectionism is a myth and it doesn't apply to the human archetypes. Now, becoming conscious and raising awareness around your patterns, understanding the relationship with food, money, and people that you currently have with will reveal so much about where you are at life right now and how you feel about yourself. And this will help you to start to heal the relationship that you have with yourself. And this is important if you are looking to transform the quality of your life as you move forward and progress in your life. This might come as a surprise. However, self-acceptance or self-love isn't a concept that most people will be aware of until they hit a breaking point and realize that despite following the guidebook that was handed over to them, something just isn't working out. Now, human mastery consists of health, finances, and relationships, which is an integral part of human experience on earth. Now, if any of this is not in balance, then most areas of our life will lose its balance. And the most common problem, though, that we see in a lot of people today or society in general is that we are constantly seeking validation and approval, be it consciously or subconsciously in all that we do, because this has been ingrained in us since we were a child. We have seen how parents take great pride in their child's achievement and they would talk about it with a great sense of enthusiasm with friends and family. And the opposite is true when the child fails to perform. The parents would feel embarrassed or upset at their child for not being able to live up to their expectations. And the child can pick up these energies. A child knows when a parent is upset or when the parent is happy with something that they have done. And a lot of times, these children who fails to perform don't seem to get the emotional support or the moral support that they need in order to boost their confidence. Now, of course, this is not a blanket statement to all parents, but I believe that most of you who are watching this video would be able to relate to what I'm talking about here, because this is such a common occurrence with a lot of middle class family, and it also does happen to those who come from wealthy family, especially if their parents have a certain position or standing in the society. So as we can see here, inadvertently, a message is sent to us from a young age. We believe we must be successful in order to be seen and validated, and only then we will be accepted. So children that grow into adults that believe that they have to perform, they need to meet the societal standards such as getting the right education and getting a job that is deemed worthy and acceptable by society standards. And they have to follow this framework that has already been designed for them, which hinders their ability to explore or form their own identity. Now, this is why a lot of adults, when they reach a certain age, and I have actually heard this from a lot of people. I am in my mid-30s, so obviously I have friend groups who are in that age, and I've heard this again and again that people feel lost, they don't know what they're passionate about, they don't know what they're doing with their life, they don't seem to know what is their purpose, and they feel trapped and unfulfilled because they never truly had the chance to explore what makes them happy. My name is Vina Raji and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now this channel is dedicated to talking about healing from childhood trauma, narcissistic abuse and attachment style, something that I have worked on myself without any professional help or guidance over the last couple of years. So I have started this channel to share about my personal healing journey, hoping that this information will be able to help those of you who are currently on a similar path. And if you are new here, I would really appreciate if you could just take a moment to help hit like, subscribe, share and comment. This will help me to grow my channel and grow the community, and hope that this message will reach a lot more people. And this would also be a motivation for me to keep serving you with more content, which I do so on a weekly basis. Now in today's topic though, I actually have decided to talk about healing the relationship that we have with ourselves, which is possibly one of the most important thing that you can do for yourself, because the relationship that we have with ourselves very much dictates the quality of our life. And I was not able to produce any content in the past 2 weeks because I needed to take a step back and recalibrate the kind of contents that I wanted to put forward, and I wanted to make sure the content that I serve has meaning and has potential to make an impact in the most meaningful way. So let's dive right into it. Now, just before we move on to exploring on this topic, the relationship that we have with ourselves, I just want to make a quick disclaimer that some people may get triggered or offended with what I am about to share here. However, this is also an opportunity for you to turn inwards and to look at your life to see how you truly feel about your current life. There is a famous saying that if a person can control the food that they eat, then everything else becomes that much easier. It's the most fundamental form of self-discipline. The food we feed ourselves with has a much bigger impact than we realize. And no, I'm not saying that you should not eat your comfort food. By all means do so. However, do it in moderation. When we choose to give ourselves the best, we are telling our mind, our body that we deserve the best. And why is this important? I know a lot of people who are reluctant when it comes to spending money on food. They will go to the restaurant and they will order the cheapest meal on the menu. However, they won't hesitate on spending 2 to 3 grand for a beauty treatment at a salon, or to upgrade their car, or to go for a party, or to throw a party for their friends. If we look at it carefully, many will pass it off by saying that it's an act of self-care, or everyone has different priorities, and yes, that may be true. However, subconsciously, when someone is looking to spend 2 to 3 grand for a beauty treatment in a spa, that is often coming from a place of lack or insecurity. And I say this with all due respect, and I'll get into this in a minute as to what I'm trying to say here. Now, this one is for women. Now, having gone to a beauty salon where the consultant goes on about what is wrong with your face and points out all the flaws, all the imperfections, which are often a normal part of human face as we age. Of course, we all want to look good. We all want to take care of ourselves. And there is also, unfortunately, immense pressure on women these days due to social media and beauty standards from celebrities alike, which puts in so much of pressure on women to want to look better. So again, the very intention that drives us to want to pay so much for this package is often coming from a place where someone is exploiting our insecurities, and then we decide we need that treatment because someone just pointed out how flawed our face looks like. Now tell me something, have you ever experienced a beauty consultant that is trying to sell you something, offering a genuine compliment about your looks? That's very unlikely, because tapping into your insecurity is what going to seal the deal for them. So they are basically trained to do their jobs by pointing out flaws and to just make you look insecure, and they would just point out flaws that you probably never have noticed prior, and you give into that pressure because of how they have made you feel at that point. That's the reason why the beauty industry is booming year after year, because they are tapping into our insecurities. And that's why we see a lot of people talk about what they have done. They put out content showing what a flawless skin they have. And then when we look at these contents and we go like, oh my God, this person has like such an amazing skin. They look amazing. I want to look that way. And people get upset, some people get depressed and they feel inadequate. So it really plays into our insecurities that we give into, we succumb to these temptations. Now again, this is unfortunate because we live in a social media era. Similarly, someone who is looking to spend a little extra to upgrade their car, to make the car look a little more fancy, it brings them a sense of validation. And I personally know so many people in my life that drives a really nice fancy car. However, if you look at the place that they live at, you'd be wondering why would they not want something better for themselves, or they would be really frugal with other when it comes to spending on important things such as food. And for most, it's not even that they can't afford it, and that's probably the worst part of it all. And I remember saying this to a friend of mine, that we take our car to most places that we go to, and people get to see the car that we drive as compared to people that would see where we live at. However, if you choose to approach this with a completely different intention, instead you tell yourself, okay, I have this money and I would like to do something nice for myself, so I'm going to go to the beauty salon to pamper myself. So you get there, you browse the options, and then you sign up for something that you really like because you feel you deserve it. Now, what's different is that this is an act of self-love that isn't coming from a place of insecurity or lack, and you are very unlikely to give in or to succumb to pressure that you may receive from the consultant, and they may not be able to exploit your insecurities as much because you are looking to treat yourself exclusively. And similarly, if you want to do up the car because you feel that you deserve it, you have worked really hard, maybe you have received a bonus and you want to reward yourself. Now this is again coming from a place of love because you're looking to reward yourself to do something instead of doing it up just because you want someone to see what you have. Now, do you see the difference? The first one is basically coming from a place of insecurity, coming from a place of lack where you don't feel good enough, so you need to do all this to get that validation or approval. Whereas the second approach is completely different. It's coming from a place of love where you are looking to give yourself because you're telling yourself that you deserve it, and then you give it with love. Now, which you think is going to make you happier? Obviously, the one that gives themselves from a place of love is going to attract more abundance into their life because they feel more at peace with themselves and they feel more content. In fact, it will even bring you so much peace when you're able to do it from a place of love instead of operating from a place of insecurity. Speaking of money, money was invented during 3000 BC, and that was about 5000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia, which is known as the modern age Middle East. And it was invented, in fact, to break up from the barter system by our ancestors that required to trade goods and services physically. And with everything else, barter system was an important way of obtaining food. So money was important to be able to get essentials like livestock and vegetables as humans evolved. So coming back to food, when you decide to cut down and pay yourself the cheapest meal on the menu, you are telling yourself that you don't deserve the best, and instead paying 2 to 3 grand at the beauty salon or for the car or at a party is validating something that you need in order to feel better about yourself. A lot of this is subconscious. Why do you think people will not wear the same outfit twice for a wedding? Or they would not post the same outfit twice on socials? Because they are more concerned about the perception and what others would say. So can you see how this impacts our belief system on a subconscious level? Now, the meal doesn't require any validation or approval. It's essential to feed our body. But the other parts where you spend the money on can be seen externally by others, and there is a sense of validation that you receive. Many people, unfortunately, place their self-worth on the income that they earn, on the car that they drive, and the house that they live in. And this is especially true for the middle class. Now, take all that away and see how they will be able to show up confidently in themselves. Most people will not be able to because their self-worth is attached to external material comforts. When you are denying yourself the most important part of human survival by giving yourself the bare minimum of the basics such as food and instead prioritizing on other material stuff that may not be so important, you are already blocking the flow of abundance into your life. So the next time you go to a restaurant, try shifting this perspective and pay yourself to the meal that you really like and show yourself how much you are deserving of it. This has a much deeper meaning because you are telling your body that you only deserve the best. Try giving yourself something that you truly enjoy without thinking about the cost and see how that makes you feel. Now, of course, you don't have to dine at a Michelin star or some fancy restaurants to feel that way about yourself. No. Take yourself to a really nice place every once in a while and buy yourself a really good meal and enjoy it wholeheartedly without thinking about the money. Instead, just remember to give gratitude at that moment for being able to enjoy a really good meal that you like or you love. And I will tell you, a lot of people will actually struggle with this because their initial thought will be preoccupied about how much the bill is going to cost at the end of the meal. However, what is really different here is what you're doing here is you are not doing this to validate others. You are in fact not doing this for validation or approval. However, you are assuring yourself that you deserve only the best. And as you start practicing this consistently, watch how that actually changes how you feel about yourself. And it would also help you to shift and improve your relationship with money. I often said this to my family that you can cut corners with everything else. However, when it comes to food, it is really important to treat yourself with the best because you're sending a message to your mind and your body that you are only deserving of the best. An abundance mindset often starts with our relationship with food. And I say this because how we feed ourselves will impact how we also treat others, and that would reveal so much about our relationship with money. Someone that is sticky when it comes to spending money on food will be sticky with money in every area of their life. When the relationship with money is restricted, everything else will be seen through the lens of scarcity because it really begins with how much you are willing to offer to nourish your own body. Now, the same person that tells that food is too expensive or it's a waste of money will have the same relationship with everything else in their life, the place that they live at, the clothes that they wear, and the money that they spend on, because they are simply operating from a mindset of lack. And of course, everyone should live within their means and spend on what they can truly afford. However, what I'm really trying to share here is that most people are more comfortable spending on what would bring them validation and external approval instead of spending on what is truly good for them. Now, this reminds me that my friends used to tell me, not just friends, other people as well, family as well, used to tell me that I was wasting money on rent, which made no sense to me because how is that wasting when I was actually spending most of my time at home, and where I lived, where I woke up every day, and where I was spending most of my time was of utmost priority to me, and that is something that I will never compromise. So again, the perception is very different, and the relationship that we have with money and food will have a domino effect into our personal relationship. Now, for example, let's say a partner is telling his woman that buying flowers are a waste of money because flowers will die in a few days. Of course, we all know that flowers will die in a few days. However, this will create resentment for that woman that she cannot even receive something as simple as flower, which is often seen as a beautiful gesture of love. Now, similarly, a woman telling a man that he shouldn't go out with his friends because he would end up spending unnecessarily will create resentment for him because now he's being pressured to choose between his partner or doing something for himself. Now, of course, this can happen for many different reasons. However, we are just looking at this as an example of, how money affects our personal relationships. So when you are able to confront your relationship with food, money, you will be able to get a little closer to the truth, and this often would require you to understand why you have that relationship. And this often goes back to your parents, one where your parents would often speak about the prices of food or groceries or how much they cost or how much was the bill at the restaurant. Then this is how you come to develop your relationship around food. Your mind is wired to think that spending too much on food is not necessarily good because those are expensive or it's not worth it, which is operating again in the mindset of scarcity, even when you are in a better position financially. Now, another aspect to look at it is how you consume your food. Do you eat in moderation to feed and nourish your body, or you just eat whenever you feel like without consideration of what you are consuming and how that affects you? The relationship that you have with food affects the relationship that you have in body, and this in turn creates insecurity. And believe me when I say, when you feel insecure in your body, in your physical appearance, it affects the way you dress up and it affects the way you show up. I just want to be mindful in this context that of course exceptions apply to those with medical conditions or health issues, so please only take what resonates with you. When you operate in the mindset of scarcity, you create a blockage to allow abundance and prosperity to naturally flow into your life because there is a sense of restriction on a subconscious level that pushes you to strategically calculate everything around you that costs money. And that is not an abundance mindset. I'll put my money on this as I speak through having had personal experiences from regular to wealthiest people. Someone who is calculative with the food that they pay will have a very calculated relationship with every major aspect of their life. And of course, this also applies to those who are financially well-to-do. Just because someone is financially well-to-do, that doesn't necessarily always mean that they actually have a healthy relationship with money. And abundance isn't only limited to finances. It does impact every other area of our life. There are many layers to heal the relationship with yourself, and it often starts with introspection and understanding your present relationship with money, food, and people. And then the next step is to disintegrate your limiting beliefs. You have to change the mindset and reprogram a new belief system. The next step is to, of course, take calculated action by integrating them gradually into your life with this new mindset, and that will take time. Now, if you are seeking to improve your life, you have to start dissecting every major aspect of your life and get clear with the kind of life that you truly desire by letting go of your limiting beliefs. I will not be able to cover everything in this video today. However, rest assured, I am currently working on a guidebook to help those who are looking to heal the relationship with themselves. So keep your eyes peeled on this channel, hit the subscribe and like button, and I will be releasing more updates in the near future. So at the meantime, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for your time, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye now.